I don't want to come home. And of course, I don't want you to touch me. Why we are so afraid of pain? If you can be yourself and to express your true needs, you will never be able to have a true relationship. Physical violence, emotional violence, when it's really strong, it's really time to come out. When you have the need to hide yourself from the most intimate person on your life, you are betraying already that connection. True conversations, normally they are the hard conversations.
What is the question you're most afraid to ask?
How to know it's time to divorce?
Hello.
Yes.
Today we're having like very special conversations, but let me jumpstart from the story I had before. Recently we had a gathering of a lot of entrepreneurs, investors. That was like a private gatherings, all successful people. And I had like conversation, close circle with my friends. And what was like fascinating for me, we discussed just relationships. I was puzzled because they really had definite success, like social proof. And they like, okay, I don't understand nothing about relationship. And this is like the most kind of challenging part of my reality right now, which I'm trying to like understand and develop myself more, and the most fulfilling one. So this is why I'm so glad to have you today. And please meet Satya. A lot of my friends, they used to go to your retreats. They recommended me your work as relationship experts, like Facilitator, and very like grounded person who can speak very like rational, intellectual language, which could resonate with all of those like friends we had conversation with. So I'm happy to have you here. We already like discussed a lot, and
Yes.
I hope we can touch at least like 10% of what we discussed already.
Yeah, so I will add that Satya is not only a world-known facilitator, known for working with traumas. She also teach people to facilitate. And she has a really famous teaching course, which some of our friends attending. But today we would be asking some really hot questions that are not only our friends, but our audience want to know answers for their life. How to save the marriage, how to find the love of your life, or should it be the one person for all life, or how to have more courage to try more to connect with people, how to heal after some big pain in a relationship, after betrayal, how to forgive, how to find attraction, sexual attraction in your marriage, how to connect more with yourself, or what to do if you had kids and you lost something in your relationship. So we have a lot of questions about jealousy, about cheating, about
Courage. Why do you need courage in a relationship?
about unhealthy relationship, about this balance of feminine and masculine. So we will discuss a lot during this podcast, and I hope everybody can find some answer. And we will start from the really hot question that can resonate to a lot of people, and maybe we'll start a story. People can know you through some of your experience. So what were the worst heartbreaks in your life, and what lessons you learned from them?
I had a few already. So I believe the first really betrayal was my sexual abuse. When I was 5, and it went till more or less around 13 years old, from my stepfather, a person that I really loved. And so that really brought me a lot of wounds and distortion about love, what is a true love, what is relationships. At the same time, brought me to my own healing, that brought me to the person that I am, and decide to work with people to help, because I know it's possible that we can step out of a big wound, especially around love. Another wound that I think is around love, it was around love, that was me separating the father of my kids. We were 12 years together. We had twins. We were surfers, professional surfers. We were traveling around the world. And somehow I got to the point that I understood that we were not growing together. So I had to let go the dream of this family. And I learned a lot with that. I grew a lot. And another betrayal was from a friend, and that is already forgiven, truly forgiven, but it was really painful. I believe that was the biggest pain around love regarding relationships, was not through a man, was through a woman. I believe that because it was so safe.
Can you tell more about this story? Because
when you really feel safe with a person and there's no sex involved, you open your entire life. You don't have this need to you are mine, I'm yours, or protecting something, because there's this trust that we are in the same place. So when a person of that depth, we spoke every day, we used to work every day together in the same field. So when that trust was broken, I think I lost in that moment the position of the child. And I became a true woman then. It was already some years ago. And I believe there was this innocence that was still the victim from sexual abuse, wanting a safe place with a person and not owning my safe place. And it was very important for me because I realized that we are all humans and we can all betray each other. So how to really create a safe space inside of me, no matter what you do to me, I can be with myself.
This is what you say, like how to own your safety.
Yes, how to own my responsibility, that you don't need to you can betray me. It will be your problem. It's your right. You have a right even to betray me. But what I do with that is my responsibility. And that brought me to the place of the victim. Like, she didn't do anything to me, even if it's true, even if it was done something. But the way I heal my broken heart is my responsibility. The way I position in that friendship that I gave everything, it was my responsibility. And I believe to all relationships, I think is about this too. We can't ask the other person to have the same principles. We can't ask the other person to behave in a certain way because that person has had their own childhood, had their own traumas. And they will be reflected on your relationship because that person is alive.
Yeah.
It's their story
like real
too.
Human.
Yes. So the only thing that we can learn through our life, I believe, is what is meaningful for me? Am I aligned with that? Am I really living through that? So for me, forgiveness and to let go had to be aligned with myself. I don't want to stay, in hate or in resentment. So I had to go to heal my heart, to see my part, why I give so much, why I allowed this, why I allowed that. So we could arrive here. And I allowed it. And I believe that is being one of the biggest lessons. And for me, as a child of a victim of sexual abuse, that was the big learning. Like, how can I have my limits, my boundaries? How I am responsible for that. What I want to share is what I really want to share, or I'm giving because someone is asking. And I believe a true relationship, in any sense, friendship, business, and especially romantic ones, family ones, we need to be responsible for our part. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Because we are putting ourselves in the hands of the other. So we lose our power. We lose our capacity of choice. And of course, the other will have available, and most of people are not aware of their own traumas or their own difficulties. So they will work through that.
For me, like, I'm curious, like, why it's so difficult? Like, it sounds like very logical. We can discuss like some concept, like you need courage, you need to be open, you need to own your safety, you need to step out of victimhood. But as I said, like at the start, like so many like grown-up men and women which are successful in life, they still have challenges in relationship. Why it's so difficult?
Because the question is why it hurts so badly. Why relationship and this not feeling safe or feeling that somebody we gave too much and we didn't receive back. Why it hurts so badly, and where can we start just to, because as Dima said, like it sounds so good.
Not
but
good.
it
Because
sounds,
in real
it's
life, this is really heavy and have a density of pain and
yeah,
tears.
so logical. Like we need to start from ourselves, but it hurts so bad that I just want to lay down and cry.
Or disappear. So I will start by your question to go to your question, like why so many entrepreneurs, successful people. So I believe that since we born, somehow our society and our parents, they project on us how we should live, how we should behave. So the child, this is really pragmatical, it says, but then on real life is zero pragmatical, is what happens internally to you. So in a very objective explanation and short. So when the child understands that she is not or he is not received the way he feels, the way he, for example, I'm feeling bad and I start to cry as a little child, and the father or the mother comes, you don't cry, you behave. The child feels, I can't be myself. It's unconscious way of thinking. They don't rationalize this. So I need to behave. For what? So I stay connected with my father or my mother so they can love me, because the child is always looking for connection.
This is also about safety, because child is not safe whenever they don't have connection with the parent.
We are the animal that we need more time of dependence of parents. And more than eating or sleeping is love, is that you belong, that you are received. But most of us, we were not met in our needs and received, so they had to educate us in their own way. It's not because they are bad people.
It's kind of like domestication, like.
Yes.
Process.
So what do? The child starts to behave in a way to have that attention. Some, they are the proper ones, that they behave exactly how parents want. The extreme pole, they are the rebels, okay? But both are masks. And we start to lose our connection to what we really feel, what is important to us, etc. So why we are so afraid of pain? Because we are in pain almost since we born. We are rejected exactly on the most important thing, that is our essence. Most of children, even if they were deeply loved, they were rejected. And not because parents wanted, because they didn't know how to do it. So we go through life trying to have that connection again. And then if something comes, we start to avoid what can make us feel that we are rejected or that we don't belong. For example, sexual abuse for me. Because I was sexually abused very young and I could not defend myself, I would avoid conflict immediately. Or when it would be too much for me, I would come out like a dragon, yes, to defend myself. But most of the time, I would just shut down.
So you're trying to find the way not to face that pain again and again.
Yeah? If no one sees me, no one will hurt me. So I would be a shadow, That's why I would love to go to the ocean and ride big waves. Why? Because there was no one. It was me and nature. So it would be easier to be connected to nature. And really strong waves, because it was the way that I could discharge all these things that was happening to me. Regarding your question, so people are running away from pain of being rejected in their true core essence as a child, still adults. When we come to people that they are driven to do things, to create, normally they are creators, the way they avoid that pain is through success. So I create this, I create that, and by working with a lot of them, politicians, entrepreneurs, CEOs, what I see every day is they normally use 20 to 30 years of their life conquering the goals that unconsciously they say, okay, it's unconsciously, I want to avoid the pain of intimacy, more than sexuality and that. Intimacy, because there I was hurt. Everything is unconscious. And I will create this. What they are creating, tell me, recognition in society,
Recognition, control.
control, safetyness, because material life is safe.
Nobody gonna tell me what to do.
Yes. Myself, alone.
So it's like culture of individuality, I guess, to some extent.
I think it's more than culture of individuality, even if our culture is bringing us there. But I think is we are running away of the true healing. That is, we break in relationships, but we heal in relationships. And what they are doing is, I'm avoiding relationships. If I focus here, achieving, conquering, that everyone says, well done, I think I'm going to fulfill this mouth full of pain that wants something. So they are running for that. When they achieve a lot, that, okay, the game is not so fun anymore because I know that I can do it. What is really missing out? Normally it's two things: relationships, true intimacy, true trust, trust that they will be received as they are, that no matter how many mistakes they do, they can have a connection that will say, I'm here anyway, that they didn't find that back then. And the second thing is spirituality. I'm connected with something bigger than this life, that I already proved that I could achieve better than most of people in the world population.
So spirituality, did you find here like to be connected with something bigger than yourself? Yep.
Yourself and the pragmatical daily life
Yeah,
is what I see.
let me put here some story, maybe like a case, because there are a lot of this. And I heard that it's about being accepted no matter how many mistakes you made. So what's the common story? Man achieves a lot, and having woman by the side, his wife, but then maybe also lacking this intimacy, he starts exploring more, maybe outside the marriage, afraid to hurt his wife, cheating, lying, or just maybe being caught, or so created a lot of relationship. And also woman, which is dependent financially and put a lot of effort in building this family and creating this safe space for a man, and did like nothing wrong in society, and also how it feels from outside and inside. And man also looking for his this intimacy, doing these mistakes. This is the point where a lot of marriages being broken, because it's for women it's a betrayal, for men it's not being accepted, doing mistakes, and also having the power, having money, having control. So how to work with this case, and where is an answer? What is the healing for family in this situation? For example, if a man like this comes to you, how you work with this?
So I have many cases of this. First, I was laughing because it's like they are hiding what is really hiding, you know. They are already there, even if we don't know that is happening, like we don't see. He carries that inside of him all the time. So the question for it's inside. So when he arrives to his wife, you know, he's not being himself because he's hiding something. But let's go a little bit before. Why do we have the need to cheat, to explore outside? Yes, something in our marriage is not there for us anymore, or it was never there, or is not being fulfilled. And even for the wife, it's like she's creating something, but if she was creating something with someone, she could notice that something's not really working. So what I believe in general, let's speak now, not only for that case, but in general, when a relationship starts to have distance enough that take us to a place that we want to reach out another person, we need to understand why. Without understanding why I feel distance, that I don't feel connected anymore, that I don't trust you to tell my things, maybe to tell how tired I am or how mad I am, what is going on. If I don't have enough space to say no to my kids, no to my job, no to my family, and we two go together alone 1 day per week, can be to the bedroom, can be to the dinner, but to explore that momentum alone. because everything started by you and that person alone, or 3 or 4, whatever you decide. Because when life comes and we start to lose this primordial connection, that is the connection that you and me, we are trying to rebuild what back then in our childhood was lost once. And in the beginning, we have this, we are curious about you. I want to know what happened to you. What do you like? I want to surprise you. We are open. I want you to listen to me. I want your opinion. And normally what happens is life comes in and we start to allow that space to be broken. We don't give attention to that space. We start to give more attention to the kids, to the job, to success. And we use the other. It's like how do you say, amuleta? How to say this? You know, it's not a real person that is there anymore. It's someone that you share daily life. Your social life. Now you are the mother and the father. Now you are the people that brings shopping home because we need all to cook. And maybe you are the person that helps me to grow my empire. But the primordial meeting is not there anymore. And then is when starts everything to be lost. And then, of course, sexuality drops.
So I'm wondering here that at some point you can have an idea that the longer you know somebody, the better the connection you can build. And you can be like more relaxed, more trustful, connected with more kind of points of the contact. So in your like personal or maybe like professional experience, how you can approach that relationship project? So the more you spend time together, the better it becomes. So in that case, we discussed that, okay, maybe a lot of people who like listen to us, they can relate. Like it starts like fresh and clean with a lot of excitement, but can degrade slowly, like sexually, in terms of intim, emotionally. As we discussed, like cheating, you start to hide part of yourself. But how that can work in different direction?
And I will add some angle here because I'm thinking about people who are listening to us, and probably there are people who are open for the change. And when you come with this intention, let's rebuild our relationship, let's heal it, let's spend more time together. Usually the other person is not there on this point. Because if they meet here, it's so rarely when both, and usually it comes after huge crisis when they both realize that they cannot live without each other and they really want to save this relationship. But usually you can live for a long time in that limbo when you want to rebuild and you want to invest and you want to feel more and your partner is not there.
So I will divide again the questions. Of course, they are related. I believe there's one step before all of that, that is to know yourself. If you don't really work in yourself, if you don't know what are your wounds, that they sabotage your life, if you don't know what are your patterns of behavior that takes you to success in a certain area and others, they don't allow you to grow. If you don't realize what triggers you to have certain kind of emotions and thoughts, if you don't do that work, it will be almost impossible to grow with another person. Why? Because when we don't know ourselves, we don't take responsibility. We don't say, this is mine, I'm attacking you because I feel that I'm not being seen. And that reminds me my past. And when I don't feel seen, like my father didn't see me and just shamed me, humiliated me, I will attack you immediately. The other person, even if it's really conscious, and she see the game, she can do the work for the other person. So I believe that a true relationship needs 2 people or more. It doesn't matter what are your decisions.
We can assume the disclaimer.
Yes, decisions, exactly. If you don't have 2 people that they grow in their own inner life, there's no possibility for a relationship to really be a true relationship, because that person that is growing can do the work for the other, can wait for years, for a lifelong. But now imagine if like this is already hard, imagine two people that they don't work on themselves. They will project entirely their lives into each other. So it will become a battlefield of self-defense because I don't want to feel the pain. I don't heal myself, I'm avoiding. So everything that triggers them, and in a relationship, because we become intimate, we will trigger, the most subtle pain that we all carry. The strongest to the subtle. This needs to be acknowledged immediately by the world. There's no option. So your question is, if two people, they could meet in that place. And I don't believe that is after a big crisis. A big crisis can awaken us. I believe when we work in ourselves, we know that we can live by ourselves, but we choose that person to be our side. When we feel I can't live without you, it's already a red flag. It's like, I can't live without you, why? That is not true.
But maybe because even that can become like a pathway towards some realization.
Exactly.
Okay, I can't live without somebody else. I should try to live with that person and maybe come up to any other state.
Yeah, but usually it's really so basic for women just investing too much to the family and not having career to live, and it's some economical reason that I cannot
depending
really.
on the
depending
parts of the world. Now we have the opposite problem here, that women are investing in the career and they feel that they don't need a man. So we are on the opposite extreme now, here in Europe and in the United States. They prefer to be alone because they can have success, they can have their financial independence.
It's like more convenient.
Why do I need a man by my side that is not working on themselves?
Less conflicts, less
less pain.
Emotions, which is hard to sustain. Yeah.
But at the end, we are losing maybe the best part of life. That is love, that is, sharing a life, but needs to be a decision of two. And there will be moments during life that I need to grow now, and you need maybe to wake me up, like, what is going on with you? Why are you depressed now? See your behavior. And other phases will be the opposite. And I believe this is how we grow. And then how to really bring this relationship to a next level. I believe that is first inner self-work. And then two, in every week you keep 1 hour minimum to discuss pragmatical things of life, kids, food, bills, where we want to go as a couple. And then minimum, I would say 2 to 3 hours for a romantic meeting. And romantic meeting doesn't need to end in sex. It's time for you to be together, to explore sensuality, to have fun together where nothing comes in. No family member, no pragmatical talks. Because if we don't nurture that, what we don't put energy will not grow. And most of couples, they forget that part. They leave that for holidays, for when they go to have a social dinner, but they are surrounded by others. So we need time alone so we can invest in that primordial relationship that brought us together. And during daily life, for example, to sustain sexuality. Sexuality is a result of how we live together. So if there's no seduction during the day, if there's no true, sometimes a small comment like, that dress really fits on you. I see your shape, for example. Or, wow, the way you expose today your thing and you give a caricia, If we lose that and we just become two machines of business partner in the family, how do you arrive to bed with that energy of the beginning that you want to eat that person till the end like an animal, and then your heart is totally there? It's lost.
So this is kind of like some soft layers, like not pragmatic layers, like magical, tenderness.
To invest in that.
And energetical, yep.
Yeah, and we leave it for last.
But what I have in my very pragmatic brain, okay, somebody who listens to us, how to approach that into the life. Maybe you should have some ritual Like, okay, let's
Many
work
people,
on
they
this.
will say, a ritual, no way.
Yeah, yeah. Like we have habit,
So,
ritual, like whatever, like
going to be
in calendar,
very pragmatical.
yeah,
You have one day for pragmatical conversations, Tuesdays.
Tuesdays.
At 9:30, kids are in bed, and you sit in the couch and do pragmatical stuff. Thursdays, you put kids in bed, or you call the nanny or your family, and you sleep out. There's no pragmatical conversation. Or you put your lingerie in your bedroom, and you just stay there to be in that environment of being together in seduction. Doesn't mean that sexuality comes. For example, when the relationship is totally broken, normally people arrive to us like sometimes 3 years without sex even. It's the most common. 3, 4. Sometimes they say, I did once this year. And it was really fast. I just wanted to end. Men and women, not only women. And we need to implement these habits. That's why I say sex doesn't need to be involved, but being together in that field of meeting. And there's many exercises to arrive then to a true meeting. And there's another thing that is, during daily life, morning, you dress to go out. You tell her, I like the way you are dressed today. Because normally we see it, but we don't say it. Huh? Or you arrive home and he's there cooking and you come and say, smells so good, thank you for dinner. You start to appreciate the other again. And all these small appreciations starts to make the other to feel validated, recognized, in the most simple things, not in the big achievements, but the daily life. And when we get old, all the big achievements, they are gone. They are memories. But through intimacy, that is, can you stand up now? Can I help you to stand up? You know, our faculties will be less. What do you like? A tea? Chamomile tea? I'm going to get you. They are the small acts of love, the small acts of, I know you, I know what you like. I appreciate your effort to do dinner for me today. That will sustain the intimacy of we are being heard, people see me there. They didn't forget me for what I am, not for what I achieve. Good that you achieve. But imagine that your job, because artificial intelligence is coming, ends. Bye-bye. Are you that job? Are you that company? And I see many entrepreneurs, true entrepreneurs, I believe they are used to earn everything and lose everything many times in their life. They are not consistent because they need to risk. That's the reason why they are entrepreneurs, because they risk. So if they don't have a partner, man or woman, that really sees them beyond what they achieve, they feel lonely. And normally the partners says that they need the support so they achieve. So normally they are more concerned to help them to achieve something and not to really be by their side. And of course, that person do a big effort to help them to achieve. He or she is so busy achieving, that person feels, okay, I'm serving this purpose. But the connection between them is lost.
This is what I also like come to realization. Why do you need all of these like retreats and containers? You said a lot about able to see somebody, but also I want to bring like other side, how to allow myself to be seen, because I can be like very protective and not allowing even for myself to see myself, to basically avoid pain and just focus on how can I manage the situation. So I disconnected from myself and not allowing to connect and see myself from other side.
But when you disconnect from yourself, you don't see the other person anymore. Because you are trying to be someone that you are not. So when you are trying to be someone that you are not, that person is not relating to you, but with that mask that you are creating. So you sustain everything.
So it's, the person like relate to me as a function. Like,
it's like you create another persona. So she's relating with the persona that you show. Imagine if we can't, and I think this is why we all need to do inner work. If we can't be authentic, truly who we are, and we can name, I feel sad. I don't like the way you speak to me. I don't agree with this. I like this sexual position. Or I want to live in China because it's hotter. It's very simple examples now. If you can be yourself and to express your true needs, you will never be able to have a true relationship because they are relating with something else. And inside of you, what you are burning is there these true needs that you don't express. And if you don't express, how that person will fulfill or help you in any sense? Never. Because you don't allow that person to come in. Yeah. And I believe this is the biggest emotional and mental disease on this time of humanity. People are always in image. It's not because they want to be there, it's because what we are taught. And true couples are people that they are highly honest with each other and they can sit and discuss and even go into conflict and repair.
What is the easiest way to start like opening up to each other? Not having very serious conversations like, okay, let's be open.
Maybe, it doesn't happen like that.
Yeah. Maybe this is happening through some playfulness or kind of allowing yourself to be weird, like maybe do some crazy stuff together or be silly.
Yes,
or
can be.
Like.
But then the hard conversation one day needs to come. You know, the true conversation. That is, we are not aligned.
They are often unpleasant.
Yeah. For example, in the last retreat, Alchemy of Love, we had a lot of couples. Most of them were already 20 years together. And of course, there was a lot of true issues there. And there was some couples, they were considering to really divorce. And the formula, there's no formula. First of all, there's no formula. Because you are a being, you are a being. There's invitations that they can work. So we need to have different invitations, totally different from each other. So if this invitation doesn't really have a true consequence, maybe this one have. For example, it can be playfulness, can be you go on a trip, you can dance, or you can even go to a wild festival. Good. So you relaxed, you had fun. That is important, super important. So you can rebuild some connection, some trust. You go out dinner, you do whatever you want because you know that will nurture your relationship. But without true conversations that normally they are the hard conversations.
Difficult conversations.
Yes, that is what is not good for you right now in our marriage, in our relationship. What are you missing?
What is the question you're most afraid to ask?
For example, and answers like this, I'm not happy with our sexual relationship and I'm even already with other women. You know, or...
Okay, when you hear something like this, and for many women it can be like the answer that will break you from inside.
So we need to understand if that relationship has the maturity for true honesty, or if not, and we need to work with what they can do. Because I believe that some relationships, they are not ready to, okay, I was betrayed and I didn't even notice. My question normally for those people, how you didn't notice? Where were you?
So this is like basically what I can see here, like we have like shared ownership of that situation to some extent.
Where were you? If you didn't notice that he was spending more time out, more hours somewhere with someone else. Because normally the victim of betrayal doesn't want to really own their part. Like, I was the one betrayed. I was the one lied to. Men or women, it's not only women. Yes. So why that person could not be honest with you? And maybe a lot of times conversation comes, she didn't listen. She didn't listen to me, or he didn't listen to me.
Yeah, let's place here this other part because it's really something interesting. And what are the other part saying? So she didn't want to listen to me. I couldn't not be honest, and
I was afraid to lose.
That's why I was lying. That's why.
Yes, or sometimes I'm very egoistic and egocentric. I didn't care about her feelings or his feelings. If we are really speaking about what people really do, or I was so afraid, and I felt so lonely that I was looking for comfort or to be recognized. That my secretary or my business partner was there every day for me. And I started, a really good red flag is when you start to expose what happens into your marriage to a person that you are on your work. You start to come out of the house, you can't have the true conversations, and then you go to the work every day, and there's that person every day there by your side. So intimacy starts.
So it's kind of like what we discussed before, like emotional cheating or intimacy cheating.
Yes, because...
So you're like more open with somebody else than with your person in the relationship.
The betrayal is not the act of sex, it's the act of you open what is going on with that relationship to another person. Or you start to share more your intimacy with that person than with this person that supposedly you decided to be together.
But this is what actually happens very frequently. Yeah.
Yes, every day. Why? And why? Let's ask why. Because here we can't open up. Our fears, our traumas, our wounds are not allowing. And so imagine two people that they don't work, they don't own their responsibility of what they're triggered, what they feel. And of course, it's easier to turn out. And now I start a new episode of novelty. But the novelty should be what? Invested here. But you can go to novelty if the true conversation is not there.
It's more difficult. You should be able to sustain difficult emotions from disappointing other person.
We like culturally, we wait from our relationship like 100% loyalty, safety, and just a safe space where no bad emotions appear. That's why we did a lot of podcasts and we were talking a lot about jealousy. Because we can discuss a lot of things, but we cannot discuss our attraction to other people.
Why not?
Like
we
should. For many people. And this, if you can, it's real green flag. If you can tell about this and you discuss that maybe you want to even meet with someone and have some connection that maybe in some boundaries. Also, but for many partners, not even for women, even if men have some conversation in internet with some girls, or even watching some Instagram models,
liking,
yeah.
But I think that depends on the agreements, and we need to be clear on agreements. Like, for example, open relationship for several people is the way they want to go. So you need to go, but you can't bring a person that they don't want. And that person needs to be responsible. I love you, but I can't live here.
But we're not discussing even this extent, open relationship. But looking Instagram models, can it be like out of agreement?
Yes, can be.
And there I feel that people are not being honest with themselves because they want to be with a person, but they also want to like Instagram models.
So you need to discuss, like, love, I love you, but I love to see other women or other men. It's nothing like, for me, it's not so important, I like. And that will bring the question. So if it's not so important, why you don't let go? And we need to go to these conversations to align. And there's maybe sacrifice. Okay, if for you is so important like this, I will let you go. I will not see these girls. But we need to arrive to that place that both of us, because I can't say that open relationship or watching other girls or having a conversation is normal. What is normal is not normal for you. So you need to live according to that. But it's normal for you. You need to live according to that. So a couple or a relationship needs to come back to this place of raw honesty and say, for me is important.
I love what we discussed with you about cheating, that cheating mostly not even about like having some physical act with the other person, but hiding yourself from your partner.
Yes.
So the moment you hide yourself from the partner, this is like the moment you cheat. So in a lot of situations, like the healing from cheating could be like courage, to be honest, and to be in connection and sustain a difficult conversation.
Yeah, maybe no.
Yeah.
The only. Because it's exactly that. When you have the need to hide yourself from the most intimate person on your life, you are betraying already that connection.
Okay. So this is the cheating.
You are betraying
big
yourself. When you betray yourself, you can't trust the other person. Because you don't trust yourself. There's a part of you that's like, I know what I'm doing. So you don't trust yourself, and it starts all the games, hiding things, hiding yourself, having a different agenda. And this person too, immediately, even if she doesn't want to do, because she doesn't feel you there. And of course, if it's a person that starts to ask, she will ask what is going on with you. And normally, or you have the courage to say what is really going on, like, I'm not happy here, I'm missing some adventure, I'm missing some true conversations, I'm having more conversations with others, I feel better. I remember in a relationship that I had, I didn't want to go home. It was really boring. So I would do everything to stay out of home. And when I really understood, like, I'm not going home, imagine after retreat, I want to stay in the hotel. I would prefer to go with my team for lunch and for dinner. And in 2 days I come. I saw like, what am I doing? That was my person. It would be the person that I want to arrive home. And I saw the relationship was really boring for me. Because that person, even if it was an amazing person, couldn't sustain their own healing process to heal, in that case, the passive aggressiveness that person carries since childhood. So there was no meeting. There would be a meeting till a certain level of intimacy. We need to see this. I was doing that. I was not coming home. So I need to understand why I'm not coming home. And of course, I believe in honesty. I believe that we need to be real and authentic. So I arrived home and said, what is going on with me? I don't want to come home. I feel our life really boring. We can't really have true communication about this, and that. And of course, I don't want you to touch me. And I don't want to go out with you. And I don't want to be with you at the end. And I'm trying to sustain this relationship against everything that I feel. So I believe that we really need to work out together. And if we can't, then we need to separate. And of course, we tried to work out, and somehow it didn't work out. And here I am. But without this, what would I do? I would start to be out, and then I would start to have more intimacy with other people. Of course, the road is directly to maybe to have interest in another person. And then the question is, do you want to go that road? Or do you want to really explore this road with a person? That you are honest, you really expose your true feelings without attacking. But you need to have a mature person in the other side. What is mature person? That you own your emotions, that you know your triggers, that you know your wounds and traumas. And layer by layer.
That you at least can sustain that type of conversation. What they have that connection to that feel boring. We used to have some practice. I don't remember exactly. In some retreat we led with Oля. Then you sit behind each other and could say things like, I feel boring right now with you. And person just reflect. I hear you feel boring with me. And just ping pong each other like emotions without like any protection and reaction.
Because we so get used to that if we hear some criticism, we reflect with our protectors. So we have these strong reactions that doesn't allow person...
Protectors about what?
Yeah, just not protective about losing the contact, fear of...
like, for example, he say that...
No, it's pain at the end.
It's pain,
yeah, but for example, he say, like, I feel boring with you. And like, we went to theater. We had the just...
How
you
dare,
don't
how,
really
how,
accept
how
that
dare
he's bored
are you?
with you.
Yeah, how dare are you to feel boring with me?
Yes.
But what we saw, like through a lot of experiments, the moment you allow yourself to be honest, for example, with your emotions that you feel boring, and the moment other person like accept that as it is and just share like its own emotions,
you feel boring with me.
It could change by itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it could be like the things which could change that feeling of boring, which could be with you like for months. But it could be with you for months, and this is your ownership to bring it to the relationship. And right after you say that you feel boring, that could be the resolution by itself.
Yes.
Maybe you should...
Why? Because we are giving space to that pain that normally we repress and becomes a big monster because we hide, to have a space between you and say, here it is what is happening right now.
And right after that, what we saw, like a lot of people, they start to feel joy, playfulness,
Why?
aliveness.
Why? And why?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they just let it flow through. And,
Because
Not only that, because
Yeah.
you allow yourself to be authentic and honest.
and now it's become not boring.
And you expose yourself.
Yeah.
But you need to do this. If you do this and she couldn't, she defends, you don't meet, for example, in this last retreat for women and men, for couples. It was, of course, there was a lot of practice of connection, but it was in the hard questions that they needed to expose truly themselves that true healing was happening. And everything around is to help you to arrive to that point and then to sustain the connection so you don't come to the point that you hide yourself and you lie. At the end,
lie to comfort other person.
no, it can be hide to protect yourself, hide of fear because you will be rejected or maybe criticized or you are not enough. There's so many layers. And when, for example, I listen many things from men like saying, no matter what I do is not enough. Yeah, I do everything. And I ask, but you are doing because you feel that you need that transformation so you can really be there for yourself and the other person, or to achieve, something in your relationship. And they start to think, and they say, yes, it's a mental paradigm that I have. If I do everything correctly, I will achieve that goal, like logical and pragmatical and mathematical. So the heart language doesn't work like that. And women, what they say is, I try to expose, but I'm never received. So I'm mad with them. And I say, but are you really trying to expose or telling them how wrong they are, that they didn't do correctly? And then the conflict, because your love language can be different from her. And you too, maybe for you is important touch. And maybe for you it's kind words. Or maybe even for you, it's a way to feel like, what do you need? I'm here for you. And that is your love language. You need a person by your side. And we need to understand other people, even gifts, for example. So we need to understand what is the love language to each other so we can communicate where we meet each other. If I know that for you is touch, I will hug you more than, bring you gifts. But if he needs gifts, maybe I bring a flower and then I hug him. But we can't do this if we don't understand the wounds behind that bring us to a place of protection. And that protection that brings us to the place that we are not authentic, real with each other, will kill the relationship. And this is what I see every day. Every day, every day. Because as I was explaining about my past relationship, I started to withdraw, to avoid that feeling boring, that my conversations with my partner were not so interesting than my team. Yes. And we need to know, it's me too, it's not only him. I did this. So my part is this one. I need to go and show up. I need to show up. It's me that I need. And maybe the other can do the same. I hope so. But many times we can't. So the most conscious one needs to show up, or the most courageous one too.
So the one who feels boring should present that.
I think both should always present where they are.
I think so. Now to make some list of what we do. So firstly, we invest in our personal development. Anytime, anyway, is the best and the right and the first thing to do.
I believe.
Like to know our boundaries, to know what we are truly want, what we lack in the relationship. Mm-hmm. The second is...
Not in the relationship, in life.
In life, yeah.
Relationship, look, we really need to... Relationship is not the goal of life. Relationship is something that we desire to share. Our goal in my experience of life is to experience this experience that is to be alive. And I don't know if I can go a little bit deeper in that, but if we go to the quantum physics, that is the ancient wisdom now appearing in a more scientific way, we are the entire universe. We are life itself living through us, and we are the individualization of a collective realm that our brain doesn't grasp. So we don't understand who we truly are because we are coming from a point of rationality. But we need to experience life through emotions, through intuition, through allowing, synchronicities to happen so we can read underlines. There's so many levels of experience. That's why people are going to drugs many times, because they want more than pragmatic life. And through those drugs, many times they expand. Or that's why now the new age spirituality is growing through meditation, through dancing, through so many practices. We expand. And relationship is a part of an expansion. It's not only me, it's us. And that is an expansion.
Yeah. So this, I always, when you were saying this about us being the unique parts of universe, the life living through us, it's our favorite book, Unique Self, telling a lot about that and just giving this feeling of who we truly are and how we can experience it in different ways. Yes, and so relationship is the part of it, and we first, it's just knowing who we are, what we want in life, and then having courage to being truly honest with somebody who we are sharing life with.
I think it makes our life easier because we are relating with our authentic self.
It feels like very hard, but at the same time easy one in the long term. But why it's so hard?
Yeah. So the next step is.
Can I say another thing? You need to know your wounds. And
it was the next thing. Yeah. So just being truly honest, and here where this part where we meet pain and fear of being left, fear of being rejected. Then we go worthy. Then we go deeper, and just there is a part where we need to explore what is behind all our fears and ability not being truly honest.
Yes.
Yeah, and here maybe just to stop more here, because there is an area where you're working with people at. So being truly hurt in a relationship, just some resentment. For example, the exercise is amazing that when you just saying some beautiful things to each other, go together somewhere, just being intimate in your bedroom. It's not easy for many people that carry deep resentment in their marriage. Just and it was for so long, and it's so deep, and it's already like the old wound that always hurts. So what is the first step in this healing, and what are maybe practical steps, or maybe what you do on retreats, the exercises that help people with that?
So one thing is, in retreats, we need to understand that in retreats, the energy of collective is one thing. Then is the couple alone at home, yes, or individual therapy for a couple is totally different, totally. So I believe for couples that they have this wound for a long time and they are somehow trying to save a long-term relationship and they feel this disconnection when they are alone, I would invite them to go to therapy, totally, directly, or to a retreat. So they are not alone.
Like family therapy together.
Family therapy or groups or retreats. Why? Because they are alone all these years with these wounds, and they are addicted to a pattern of communication and conflict. So to come out by yourself is not so easy. It's not so easy. Another thing is, we can't, and that's why in that moment I said, the hard conversation will be the healing point. You can't ask these people to go to the bedroom in lingerie or alone if they don't really allow this resentment to be seen and healed and let it go. So for those couples, I will bring them. In a retreat is different because we need to bring the retreat in a certain way. But we know that in that retreat, for those couples, it's the healing point is the hard questions, the true questions. But for here, I would start again with the hard questions. And only when they are mature enough that they can, okay, because we saw, because we really understood, and there's more space, then I would start to invite different exercises. Yes. Just looking in their eyes, because how do we ask a person to go, to a more sexual intimacy if they don't have, if it's totally lost? It needs to be step by step, for example, to have a walk together, to start coming to hobbies together. Then this intimacy that we find in our partner, in our work, starts to be redirected to that person. I'm going to play tennis. I'm going to surf. I'm going to read a book with that person. We need to rebuild that place of safetiness, that we bring curiosity again, and we want to do something with that person to grow. Trust, to grow curiosity, to openness.
Did you try it in your relationship, which didn't work?
Yes.
Finally.
Of course.
And why it didn't?
In my case, I believe that we were in different moments of life. I wanted more connection. That person needed to work more in that passive aggressiveness. And without that work, he couldn't open up. It doesn't allow us. Our wound, they don't allow us to break down. So we need to work immediately on that. And it took time for him. But we are really good friends. But took time. And now, of course, that person says, I saw it. Now I see it. They said, good, at least you see now. Congratulations for you. And I saw my part. I saw my part too. I had to start. I'm saying goodbye already.
But what we discussed already, like relationship is like a good kind of part of your spiritual growth. And as we discussed, like more and more people, they choose right now to maybe like be alone, focus on like some achievements, less dates, less sex, less intimacy. And how you see that balance? Like, should you always be in a relationship? Maybe you just like, okay, let's just jump, experiment, and like through that experimentation triggers you like grow yourself, or how you decide to break, to let go and stay alone. And I heard from a lot of my friends, women friends, they after break, they just say to me, okay, I need to train myself to stay alone. I need to train myself to be alone. Then I am ready to a real relationship. And for me, it's like, I don't know, maybe you just continue experimentation. This is how you learn. What is your opinion on that one?
I think there's no rules, I think people always want a rule. If I do that, I will achieve that. In the matters of the heart and the soul, it's not like that.
But we discussed a lot about courage and being honest,
Yes.
like being triggered. And this is only happen when you're in a close relationship. And the deeper you go in a relationship, the more it happens. So maybe you should expose yourself to some at least.
Yes, but sometimes we need time alone. For example, I decided for a while that I was a spiritual nun. I didn't want more relationships where we need, that the basic is not there. And the basic for me is at least being authentic, that we own our part. That is the minimum. But most of the time doesn't happen. Yes, and I see that in couples. It's like they can't really be honest with each other. Sometimes we need time alone. Because we are tired, because you are still enjoying your freedom, because you believe that will not work to you, because there's so many reasons. But all these lessons about if you break a relationship, wait. Yes, in general, it's true. Normally, we take 2 years to really heal a broken heart around, is statistics, around. But doesn't mean that you will not connect with other people. So it will depend where you are. And I see many people jumping to one relation to another through addiction. I can't be alone. I can't be with myself. I need another person so I feel alive. I need another person so I can have sex. And that is a question too. Why can't you really be with yourself? I don't know, but I don't know if you know, but there's many people that they can be 2 hours without a call to other people. That already says a lot about them. So imagine a week alone or 1 year alone. For them, it's impossible. Maybe for them to work on that question will be important. So they sustain themselves by themselves, so they don't live through the other. So when they arrive to a relationship, they can sustain who they are, and they can be authentic and not in the needy position or the abuser position that I want that, I will grab that. Or other people that normally they want to be alone, that they don't want to have connection, to avoid any relationship. Maybe for them it's important to jump to a new experience. But we need to do all of this consciously. What is happening to me, what I am feeling, why I'm feeling this.
Yeah, so if you realize that you are having some pattern, it's better to challenge that using this maybe periods of life when you
At least question that.
yeah,
What is going
question
on?
that. I have some questions like blitz fast.
Okay.
Maybe we can do more like dynamic pose in this our high level beautiful ideas, just answering as short as possible. Can love survive without sexual attraction?
Yes, totally.
Another one.
I'm
Next.
sure of it. Yes. But maybe it becomes friendship. It's not a romantic partnership. But people live like that too. Imagine that you are 10 years with a person or 20 and that person becomes paraplegic. Can survive. But maybe you become a friend, a special friend, a very special friend, the most important friend.
But it's a good point that you don't need to devalue this relationship.
No.
Just if you don't have a sexual life with
Yes.
this person, it's still this
By the opposite, even. Maybe you are going to a higher level of love.
Having tears in my eyes. How to know it's time to divorce?
I think that will depend on each relationship, but when the relationship can't really respect each other's needs and you already did your part and somehow you don't see the difference, it will be your choice to stay in that hurts you, or it's your choice to come out. There is, there's only two situations that is about violence. Physical violence, emotional violence. When it's really strong, it's really time to come out. And normally, victims and abusers attract each other and they will feed each other.
What is the first step after a painful betrayal?
For whom?
For both.
both?
For both, let's say.
So, first, there's many layers here. The one who did the betrayal, you need to own it. And if you want to stay in the relationship, it's not enough just to say, I'm sorry, I will not repeat. You need to sustain your behavior for a long time so trust can be gained again. It's not through words, it's through actions. For the other one, you need to understand if you want to stay and if you are ready to risk again your trust. And if you are jump, and in this process, you always need to be honest, like, I'm afraid that you do this again. Okay, why? What did triggers? Because if those conversations are not on the table every day, trust will not grow again. Fear will grow again.
But what is betrayal here? It's like
Any kind.
It can be. It can be any kind. It can be any kind. Like, for example, if the person have addiction, it's like relapse and it was hide, or just not bringing all the money to the
so
family.
betrayal is the only thing you hide, or you have some agreement but you break it.
Maybe more like that. You hide and you break that agreement. It needs to be both.
What if you break the agreement but don't hide it? Is it betrayal?
If you had consentment, no. But if you don't have consentment, maybe it can be a true betrayal for that person.
Yeah, but I think you answered beautifully and really practically. So, how to handle attraction to someone outside of your relationship?
I think we need to own it. Like, very simple. I feel attracted by that person. Why? You know, the way she moves or the way he moves, it's so intelligent. You know, to be honest.
And the other person.
And then we need to understand, you know, that is the thing. If we can be honest with that person, all that, it's almost fades. We feel attracted, okay, we can even admire, but we are sharing that with that person. We are not isolated. We are not alone in that. And that is the fear. The thing is, if we can share, we are sharing our life. If we don't share, we are isolating that person from what I'm feeling. But this person needs to be mature, because sometimes people are not mature. But even not being mature, I would prefer a conflict in that moment and to grow together.
Yeah, then to be a person from who.
How many
people
times
hide.
don't you feel a person interesting, like, wow, what the conversation here? Sometimes the chemistry is not even about the body or about, it's something that person has that we feel it.
Yeah, so for me, it's the main thing in a relationship that I value, because I'm attracted to a lot of people and I love people and I love to share it. Because if I cannot share it with somebody that I truly love, I feel so contracted.
Yes.
That's
And why? Why do you feel contracted?
because I'm not bringing myself fully to my relationship, because I have something, I have some sparkle, and I love to share like what food I like, what movie I like, what music I like, and I share about everything. But where there is something that I need to hide, I everything I feel that is not true. That's why I share. And for me, it's painful when somebody is not sharing, and I feel it's there, but
Yes.
he's not sharing. And mostly because I have strong reactions, but I want to have these reactions also because it's not about leaving, it's not about blaming. It's just my authentic reaction on this. I can feel jealousy, I can express my anger, but it's also me. And for other people, sometimes it's easier not to bring something to me because they're afraid of my reaction.
I think it's for everyone, honestly, like that. But then when we isolate ourselves and we are not sharing, what are we really doing? What is it?
What is it?
Cheating.
Yes, but it's not cheating. I think, we are again not being authentic. If we are not authentic, we are already betraying that relationship and ourselves.
This is what cheating is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who already felt like that your partner was really interested in someone and you came, are you interested?
No.
When you heard no, you felt like, but if you hear, yes, she's, wow, it's amazing, you relax like, okay, I relax here because there's truth there.
But what usually happened, like in my experience, I said, "Hey, you have something for this person?" Like, no, nothing that is important. Yeah. So this granularity of something that I feel that they're interested, and the other person thinks that the feeling that can be discussed must be much bigger than
Can
something
I open
that
a topic? Because that is very important. Sometimes we are in a room, arrives someone, and you feel my partner is interested in that person. And you really feel, there's energy here. And you turn and he says, no, I didn't. Yes, yes, but nothing special. But maybe it was not your partner. It was the other person energy direct to your partner, and you really felt it. And you feel that energy.
That's usually what happens.
And then how you both work with that. Me and my current partner, we talk a lot. We expose ourselves in retreat. So a lot of men and women look to each other. And sometimes, like, there's an energy here. It's yours or mine? Mine is not. It's yours? No. Okay. Let's observe. Comes from here. And we discuss immediately. Are you jealous? Are you uncomfortable? Yes, I am now. So what has partners normally do is create safetyness. Okay, come here. Why do you feel insecure right now? For both, How can I help you to feel safe here right now? And when we own this, and when we create this space for each other, we relax on each other because we could open, a space that is not comfortable, is not. We own the space together, and we don't put like, it's nothing. Why you are saying this? What is going on with you? Are you already there, jealous? All these conflicts. We know, we own it. Like, something is really going on. For me, it's for you. No. Okay. So how can I support you? Now it's you.
It's
So
it's so
at
beautiful.
least you can jump up that conversation like, I don't know, let's explore.
Let's see what is reality.
Yeah,
And
I
most
think
of
I
the
think
time,
it-
the energy is there.
I think that for me the most important part is there. Like if you're feeling something and if you feel jealousy, it's more important now to support you and just to hold you with all this jealousy than to really explain or trying to say like there is nothing there, because it's all comes from the mind justifying. And this just being there for your partner is more important than find some justice in
Yes,
that.
and what happens? The inner child that once was rejected and once were afraid, now in this relationship has mature adults, can feel safe. I have the right to feel this, but here he's really recognizing my needs. So the inner child feels safe to come up, to be vulnerable, maybe to cry or do whatever. And adult parts of that person can say, yes, we are safe with this person. And there's an integration of the inner life with outer life. And this is super important. And I believe more than a lot of exercises is how we help couples to come to that place that if it's happening to you, it's happening to us. And we need to be there together in that place. And for that, you can't criticize the other, but the other needs to want to grow. Like, I have jealousy all my life because at the end, the inner child feels there's not enough for me. Jealousy is there's not enough for me. If I share you with someone else, I will not have you. Yes? Narcissism goes, I don't want to share with you by anything. I only you. It's a little bit different. So we need to go to healing. But that person, if he's mature enough or loves enough, needs to learn how to sustain that person right in the wounded place, in the moment, with the president in the room, at the beach with people, at that dinner, with your kids by the side. For example, me and Nun, we have two families. I have my family, he has his family. Now we are family. For our kids to see an adult, two adults, really in love and owning our emotions at dinner table, like I don't like this. For them was like, because they feel the honesty. So their inner child can relax in our presence because we are not pretending that today we are good. We are having dinner with our kids. Because they feel, and everyone in a social gathering feel that you are trying to behave. So the question is how, in a proper way. Of course, we are not shouting there. And sometimes people even shout. It's normal. Come on. Everyone shouts. But how can we sustain each other? Like, I'm really irritated today. Okay, how can I support you right now? Now, in any moment. And that is the hardest thing. And couples need help in that. We all need.
And if both are now in a deep trigger, because
Time out. Time off.
recently we had such a stupid conflict. Dima was looking for something, and he was using this.
Can I stop? Can I do something? Are you okay for her to express this here?
Yep. Well, let's see.
No, but you see, I immediately saw his energy. Like, what is coming out now? So I would immediately read, like I would ask his consentment. Are you okay that I give an example about something that happens? Yes, this is a teaching that we start to give to couples because sometimes that person is vulnerable. He doesn't want to open up, and then we immediately come out. So we need to learn, like, Dima, I would love to share this. It's okay for you. And if he says no, you say, I'm okay.
Let me ask Dima, is it okay if I share?
No.
Okay.
You see? And this is how you build trust with each other. This is how you build trust. It's not because we are in the podcast. This is true. For example, me and Nunu, we work together. I immediately, when I'm starting to give an example, these examples are, neutral. I can, and we are already working a lot on this for a long time. But in front of everyone, I always ask, Nun, are you okay if I say this to the group? And sometimes I say, be careful. Or me, and say, I don't know what is going on, but today be gentle. so we can be in that trusting field. And of course, it happens moments that it comes wrongly. And we immediately need to, when we catch ourselves, to repair. I feel that you didn't like it. I'm really sorry. It was not my intention. And repair is about this. It's about this trust. Are you okay? So we take the decision together because it's about us. It's not about me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
And it's a learning. It's a learning point for all of us, Olga? And it's important to allow ourselves to receive this no, because it was not easy, because I'm sure that you were not doing anything wrong, for sure. But for him, maybe it would be, and he was honest, no. If you hear his no, it's like, no, directly. And you need okay, for no, it's a no. So maybe he's processing something now that I don't even understand. He's not ready. And I need to take a deep breath and do not take it personally. Because when we start personally, again, the wound starts attacking us. So after, when you come out of this, you come out when I'm not here, and you speak why you said no. And you really want to understand why. Not to attack him after. And he will explain truly, not protecting yourself, because, no, I don't know, maybe I don't trust her because I just met her now. I don't want my community to listen our things, And when we are really honest from a place that we don't attack, trust is one more level of trust. Okay. And you can even, but for me it was so important. And you can go to this child, but I wanted so much. And said, I'm sorry, I couldn't give you this.
It was a beautiful example.
It was real, huh?
Yeah, I say no just to experiment how to say no. Because for me, it was, okay, I'm afraid to say no. Yes, I'm afraid to say no. So for me, that was like a challenge to say no.
Okay, we could go really deep now. And you need now to understand, okay, it was important for him, or maybe why you did this here, You can go to true questions. For me, it was too much to receive that no like this, just because you want to experiment. Say, but I'm afraid to say no. And normally I'm afraid to say no to you because you can, whatever, it comes out. You go to the true conversation.
That's a beautiful entrance, yeah.
Yes.
I hope they wouldn't cut that.
One question, like from the Blitz question relating to the situation. One practical tip to instantly reconnect with your partner.
First, come back to yourself. If there is a conflict, there is for sure some intensity inside of you. And if there is nothing inside of you, you are just observing because that person, it's really intense for that, but didn't touch you. Reconnect with yourself. In any case, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what do I feel? Can I sustain communication or I will blow up? If you will blow up, ask for 10 minutes break. I need my time. I really don't want to have this conversation because I will start shouting or attacking you. You need to own that what will happen. And then you can connect. And by saying this, already the true connection starts to appear. If you don't feel any emotional disturbance and that person is like, okay, I'm here for you. I'm ready to listen to you. So it's really coming to a point of presence. But you need to be present for yourself. If you are not, you lost. Everyone lost it.
Because my usual emotional defense from my childhood and even right now is to become dissociated. So whenever I have conflict, very frequently, I dissociate myself and start to be on very start to communicate from mental level, and from that moment, connection is lost.
Of course.
And for me, usually it's how can I come back to my bodily sensation and start to feel again? So this is the real challenge in the conversation.
That is a really good point. First of all, it happens to a lot of people. When a person dissociates, it means that in your childhood there was really intensity. It doesn't matter if it was shouting or not shouting. For your child, you felt like this. It was so much intensity that your nervous system had to shut down so you could survive. So it's you withdraw from the situation.
Tune out, yeah.
Yes. It's you start imagining or traveling or totally numb. You don't even listen and you are focusing, on the eternal layers of university. And what is happening here, it's like you don't see it even. You see shades. Yeah? So it means for you, when it comes for emotional intensity, your nervous system is still not trusting that you can navigate. Yes? So what I would do, it's unconscious. It's not something that you choose. It's something that happened to you. And your nervous system saved you like that. You had to shut down so you could survive. Thank God it happened to you. Otherwise, you would not survive. Now, how can we repair? How can we teach our nervous system to deal with that intensity again? So, first of all, in the momentum that you start to dissociate, you need to recognize, I'm dissociating right now. And one thing that brings us back to the body, sensations first, is you start to massage your hands, you press. Because when you start feeling the body and you press, like to feel, can I touch you? You really do like this. Here,
like
especially here in the middle.
More pressure. Okay.
Yeah, you pressure these places like this. I'm doing on the opposite. But so you feel like, okay, I'm alive. When you are alive, when you feel your body, every dissociation stops and you come back immediately. So you can press your feet. For example, if you are in a meeting, you press your feet. Yeah? So you don't feel like a crazy person. But you can go to your toilet and put cold water here. It brings out of dissociation. You can put water here on the neck and here, or on the feet, for example. It's what we call exercises to bring dissociation back to the body. So it's regulation of the nervous system. There's many exercises. When you start to do this and you feel your body, you start to feel what? The sensations. The sensations not
Like
only
bodily
here,
sensations.
but the stomach with the stone. You see, I'm already activating you. We are speaking about things that activates you. That's why you started to move more than any other moment of the meeting. No?
Finally.
Yes. And when we start to feel the body sensations, you have connection to your emotions. When you have connection to your emotions and you can name it, I'm mad with you or I'm afraid of you, you can what? Show yourself. Be authentic and say, I can't be here right now. Or, okay, I can.
Yeah, so this is actually what helps from my experience, because like in a lot of conversations, whenever I have just mental states and like rational conversations, that frequently does not help.
Yeah.
That does not build connection. Just like continue to kind of ping pong some ideas, who is right, who is not. And the moment I feel my body again and can just maybe even like present what I feel in my body, that start to build some like real connection.
But that means that you need intensity. And that is your wound. So you have to block intensity, and now you can even become addicted to cortisol and dopamine. So it means situations that brings you that intensity,
Alive.
so you feel alive and more alive. So we would need to teach your nervous system how can you feel without intensity to melt, and that would be a huge learning. And that would bring you for sure to the wounded part of your child that needs to cry a lot.
How to sustain bodily sensations without intensity.
And that will be very boring at the beginning. Maybe you don't even know how to do it. It's like nothing. I'm not feeling nothing. I don't feel nothing. I'm not saying that this happened, but normally the system is like this, the nervous system. And we need to teach again, step by step. So there's a lot of patience that is needed, curiosity. But then normally when we numb, we live in the mental life. And that's why most of the time you don't connect because you are waiting unconsciously for intensity. So you feel, so when you feel something, you connect. But maybe something is already happening for a long time that you can't feel because you are here still.
You have not noticed even.
Yes, of course. Of course. But we don't need to point. We just notice and let's see how I can support this.
Oh, my friend put it beautifully about like retreats and some like embodied retreats or tantra retreats, that for him it's like to get out of anesthesia.
Yes, totally.
Like to unfreeze Because in real life, here and I can relate to, you put so many protections, like slowly, step by step, just to sustain that real life challenges, like work, meet people, even like walk through like streets in the city with a lot of unfamiliar faces.
But we can know all that by mind, and this is where I believe I really love to work. We can have all the trainings, we can read all the books, we can talk with everyone, but if it doesn't come to the place of the wounds that needs attention, nothing will happen. It's just information more. And we need to help our nervous system and our entire system and our even, I think the deepest part of our being that is not in matter is that super consciousness that we all are, to really experience. And the only way that we can experience is through the body, is through feeling. And we are all afraid to feel again. We desire to feel, but we are afraid to feel when we are starting. And this is how can we help people to come back to their own feelings and body sensations, even to a paraplegic. Without that, it's only in the mind. It's just another movie that we create, intelligent one.
So to build a relationship, you should be able to have that felt sense in your body.
Yes, an open heart to allow the other to be who is he and to be curious about what happens to you in the relationship with that presence.
Yeah, this is what issue I used to have when I was teenager. Whenever I tried to connect with girls, I always was like in my mind. I always was like speak about some concept, mathematics, physics.
What would you say, for example?
For example, whenever I date some girl and she can tell me about some music she loves, I would start to speak about some scientific concept of music, how good music is different from not good music from the perceptual point of your brain. Right now I understand that was my kind of safe haven not to feel, like kind of some anxiousness, shame, etc.
Trying to show yourself intelligent.
Yeah.
Because you
Not
would
being
maybe
vulnerable.
value more that part. It would be safer for you there. And how is it now?
I still have very powerful mental part of myself, but I'm aware about that kind of, that sometimes that mental part of myself works as emotional defense, and I'm aware about that one. And sometimes in a relationship, whenever I connect with somebody, I aware about, okay, we like right now we are at some factual level, we speak about some concept. Let's go back to relational level. What is happening between us? What do we feel? What am I feel? How can I switch to that level? So it's still sometimes I need that awareness and intention. Okay, let's switch that energy. Not being just in the mental states.
And how is it that evolution for you as a person? That evolution is good for you?
For sure it's good. Basically, I started as very dissociated kid with like deep in physics and mathematics, with some Asperger during that school. And I had a lot of situation in my life, like wake up event, sometimes traumatic, but every one of them, they kind of transformed me to be a bit more in my bodily sensations, be more into my emotions, to be more connected into my emotions. And sometimes it was like rational. Okay, I saw how valuable to feel. Let's design some habits, rituals into my life to build more that bodily sensations, to build more that bodily connections, and to bring this into my relationships. So that was sometimes like even like conscious choices, like to kind of expose myself more.
So it means that you have a very intelligent mind.
Yep.
Yes, you have.
Yeah.
It's like, and somehow you have resilience even to that intelligent mind that is helping you to understand that is not only enough.
Yeah.
And that is a good thing. So don't lose your intelligent mind.
Yeah, for sure.
The only thing we need to grow the other side. And the way you were speaking, your face, your eyes, your expressions about that evolution was really soft. So I could really sense how real it was. Yeah? You were not speaking, even if your mind was there, yes, and you were acknowledging your mind and how she, I see how it was valuable. It's still the mind. I saw how it's valuable. So normally a more emotional person say, it's like, I am what I am. Yeah? It's totally different speech. But when we are highly intelligent, it doesn't mean that the mind can't support the other. You are doing that. The question is how to allow this wild part of you that somehow was repressed for a reason now has a little bit more space. And it's beautiful that.
And not rejecting that intellectual one.
Exactly.
At the same time. Yeah.
No, we can't reject. But the mind needs to serve us. And what is us? Maybe now I'm going to be too spiritual for this. But for me, it's our soul, is the link between our individualization here, the universe experienced through individualization, to the superconsciousness, to the one without the name, to the reality that we can't even name it all, everything and nothing. And so the mind is a tool for our experience. It can't be the controller. We can be the slaver. And normally the mind wants to be in control, wants to slave. But the mind is one of the most important and powerful tools. So good that you are super intelligent. It's really important. But for the matters of the heart, she will not know what to do. Because the heart is a wild horse, is a wild tiger, is a soft baby. It's an explosion of stars. And at the same time is a soft river that we don't notice on the earth. And the mind can't control that.
At least I can relate that I enjoy life more.
Now, you feel...
Yeah, I feel more and enjoy life more, for sure. And enjoy my relationship more.
We have some 3 really important topics.
3? Okay.
That maybe shortly to ask, like loving someone who loves another.
What is the question? It happens.
Yeah, yes? It happens. So what it is like, maybe a lesson to be learned, because some people cannot overcome this for years.
So they like kind of attracted to love somebody who is unavailable?
Attracted to somebody, or also have this, or like have it as a pattern. Like have it as a pattern, loving somebody who is unavailable.
Has a pattern, normally reflects a child that couldn't really be met in her love. So the father or the mother was not there. So they are repeating that pattern because it's safe for them. It's what they know, not being loved back. So the work would be to help them to see that pattern, why they feel safe in that, and then to explore with them how it's to be with someone that can love you back. In very short and resume way. But if it's a pattern, yes.
Yeah, so if it's a pattern, you need to work with that.
Yes. But if it's not a pattern, that sometimes happens once in a while. Not to everyone.
For how long it's let's say normal to stay in this attracted state to somebody who is not available? Like
attracted or love?
Like it occupies some space inside of you that it's hard to be open to other relationships.
I think it will be a choice. Are you ready to rebuild your life?
So it's also like a step to get rid of some addiction. Yeah, you need to go.
It's not get rid. It's to accept that it's there, but I need to move on. I need to keep on doing my life. Yes.
And how to do that? What is the maybe ritual? Yeah, you need to do some rituals of letting go.
You can do rituals. You can do rituals of letting go. But mainly to focus on what you want to build. Because if you are always looking back, is what you are building, is that connection with someone that doesn't love you. And you need to start looking where you want to go.
That's a good point. Another thing is dependency and codependency. So these patterns in relationship that are not healthy. like codependent or like
That
saving
is a
somebody.
huge topic to open. It's like, what can I say?
Yes or no?
Yes or no? We are, I think we are always interdependent. Codependent, if it means that you lose your freedom. Freedom is not that you do whatever, but freedom of choice. And you are dependent on others to have your life, to take decisions in the sense that you don't have your own opinion, that you don't have your own, like for me it's important like this, let's discuss. You need to work. You need to really work.
And about these types of connection, this anxious, dependent, avoidant.
Huge topic too.
Yeah.
We need another podcast, honestly. You need to see where you come in and what is the most active, and to work and to see with care, with love, not like labeling yourself. Now everyone labels themselves with everything. I'm codependent, I'm anxiety, I have DHD, maybe you don't have DHD, maybe you have a trait. And it's a small thing. That is the dangerous. Of course, information is always good, but it's the danger. When I start the awareness facilitator training, that is 2 years, I always say, everything that I will present you, you will think that you are. You are not. You are more than that. So if you feel that you have a true, traits and patterns, you need to work from a loving space and true caring of evolution, not rejecting, justifying, criticizing yourself. That is still the wound speaking really strongly.
So if you understand that you have an anxious type and you really create such a weight for your relationship with your wound, with this trauma of being anxious, of this fear of being left all the time. So maybe some practical advice, like with the love, just every time that you have this anxious part active, just meditating with a love acceptance, something like that.
I would recognize first, like, I'm here again, and then no matter what happens outside, I have myself. To build your own independence in the sense that even if everything breaks down, you are with yourself and you are enough for yourself. This is super important. It's not that you start to isolate and to avoid the other person or say, no, I can be by myself. No, but just knowing I have myself. And I think that intimacy with ourselves is the one, I think that is the primordial connection. Because if you don't connect with yourself, you will be codependent of others.
And the last thing, and maybe about the relationship that are too good, and people sometimes have a concern that I feel so good with my partner that I don't want to do something else. I don't want to achieve. I don't want to work. And some relationship, they are like taking something from productivity. What is the...
First of all, enjoy, because that doesn't happen a lot. Second, I think needs to have a balance. And the balance is when the other parts of life starts to break down. You need to take care, because life, it's a balance. But if your partner can help you and you don't need to work, man or woman, why not to enjoy that love too? It depends on the circumstance of each person that goes through that.
Yeah, but it also becomes sometimes like a pressure. Like maybe in this relationship, I'm not productive enough.
But we need to see if it's a true question. I see many people, men or women, finding love, and they were achievers, and now they don't want to be such a big achievers. And for them, it's good. It's not a problem. Everything is well. Everything is going. But if you start to put in danger different places of life, that is a true question. It's like, why am I allowing this to break down in name of this love? And when we are really in love, honestly, of course, everything fades away for a while. But we need to understand if it's true, if it's truly that, or if it's
just
something
enjoy
else.
the ride. It's not forever.
Maybe it's for me. It's always the question: is this relationship making your life better or worse? For example, sometimes It can feel good, but everything around is destroying, and you really feel that you are going away from the goals and the mission that you have, and it's not serving your higher mission. So, and also it's maybe like
That
an
doesn't
addiction.
seem real love like this. One thing is you decide, okay, I had this mission, but now I found this, and I really want to leave family. I want to be there. I already achieved so much. You are not losing. You are not destroying. You are transforming. You grew up in a certain way. But if your life starts to break down, you really need to understand why. Why I'm allowing everything to break down in the name of this relationship. It doesn't seem very healthy in that sense. But sometimes you can say, I'm tired.
So
Now I
I
want to give
needed this
attention.
relationship just to save me from everything that I was tired of, and just a reason to destroy everything, maybe to build something new.
New, for example. But look, this is not like a rule for anyone.
Yeah,
we
of
need to
course.
see person by person and relationship by
Of
relationship.
course. Thank you. So you had some question to wrap it up?
No, just the latest question. What do you recommend for the audience after that discussion? Maybe one ritual, one habit, weekly, one practice.
Maybe for a couple.
I love something I can do like maybe daily, weekly, as like integration tool of what we discussed already.
Okay. I will give you one. That for me is the most important one. The rest is, and this will be the hardest one. That is, when you wake up in your bed, you don't stand up. Zero. You close your eyes and you really position yourself inside. You use your imagination exactly where you want to live every day, no matter if you are in love, no matter if you have school, if you have a job, every single day. You can do it for 5 minutes or for 1 hour. It depends on your life. And you need to feel, you visualize where you want to go, how you want to live, and to feel in the body sensation. So imagine, I see myself happy with my partner. It's not enough to do this. You need to feel in your body. And you do it at night, reviewing your day. What happened to your day and what you would choose every day, even if you had sex, crazy sex, or if you are really tired. And you do it consistently till the end of your days. If you do this, your life will change forever. Okay? For a more rational person, you need to bring this to a physical practice. Otherwise, you will fall asleep because you are laying down. It's the hardest meditation. If you are seated, your presence is focused. If you are laying down, and especially before you stand up after sleeping, your brain waves are still in a part that you can fall asleep. But they are the brain waves that you need for your brain to believe that is reality. Okay? And at the same thing, when you are falling asleep, they are the brain waves that will induce your brain to believe that is reality.
Like dreamlike state, like theta waves.
Yes. For a person that is more rational, that has a busy, strong mind, I would do exactly the same by running. Why? Or walking fast. Because when you are running, your brain lowers the speed of information. So you are bringing a memory. This is very simple. People say, yes, it's very simple, but they don't do it. They don't do it consistently. They don't. Then for the more spiritual ones, I would open a candle in the altar that you build just for that momentum of your life. And you have a space in your home just for that. In many retreats, their homework is for 7 days or 21 days, depends on the work. They need to create their altar with some objects of the retreat. And once a day at minimum, they need to stop there to look to the altar and to go into this prayer. So it depends on the person, but needs to be short, that it can be used in their daily life. If we start
two times per day, like after
I
you
do every
wake
day
up,
for years.
after wake up and before fall asleep.
Yes. And if you are very mental, stand up and run or walk fast for 5 minutes doing this.
I have very similar practice right now, but with ChatGPT. When I wake up, I tell ChatGPT what I'm planning to do today, and before falling asleep, I just have my voice journal.
You are already in the rational mind, and your brain doesn't believe it so intensely. And you need to bring to your emotions.
I would try that one.
Yeah.
With candle. Let me be all in.
I would, for you, I would run 5 minutes strong with this prayer and then sit in front of the altar and praying is what I would do for a person that I sense.
Thank you so much. It was such a deep and I think useful for many people.
We would love to meet you in Bali.
Yeah, me too. Let's meet there.
Yeah, thank you for everything. Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for this invitation, for such deep questions. And I believe authenticity, yes, because sometimes in this work we try, and it's so good when people can see, can feel people, real people. At the end, we don't have anything to hide.
That's true.
No.